Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another episode of EF Buddies. Today we're going to be working on the fuel system. Let's see, we got a little bit going here. Brian's over here working on mounting the fuel pump. Bosch 044. We just got the fittings in the mail for it. Because the inlet and outlet are metric fittings, so most of your standard male AN fittings are national pipe thread, I believe, and you have to order special fittings. So anyway, we were waiting on a few things, and here's some of the stuff that we just got. Went with this fancy made in China fuel rail setup for 48 bucks. I don't really think you can beat it for now. We can upgrade individual parts down the road, but for 48 bucks you get this AEM fuel rail lookalike, and it looks pretty solid. Just got to flow fuel through it, right? It's got a liquid filled gauge, a replica AEM fuel pressure regulator. It comes with a filter, a pre-made line, AN line, and also this fitting here, which by itself is pretty expensive. I bought one of these for the CRX. This is if you want to convert your stock hard line, the feed line that comes out of the firewall, to AN. That's the fitting you need. So for 48 bucks you get all that. I think that's pretty good. So yeah, what else? I don't know if you guys even seen them yet. Probably have, but we got a set of Hunter tuned injectors. These are the GM LS decapped injectors. What are they supposed to flow? Like 800, 850 cc, something like that?
Yeah.
That's what he says.
75 pounds.
So we got those. We actually bought those off somebody else. Not from Hunter Tune, but these are his. They're decapped. They got the B series top hats on them. So we're gonna run with those.
We got his green Harbor Freight O-rings on them.
Yeah, there you go. O-rings. We got you've seen it last time, but we're gonna be mounting all this stuff today. This is our eBay fuel filter, which, what was this, like 15 bucks or something?
Yeah.
Comes with an assortment of fittings for it if you want to run 6, 8, or 10.
Guess what wrench I can't find? 10 millimeter.
Imagine that. There's probably 3 of them right in front of you.
I don't see a single one. Is that kid back here or something?
No, I don't know who that is.
Like?
So yeah, that's what we're going to be working on now. Also got some silicone radiator hoses, little G Plus deal.
Alright, noise.
Loud noise. I might be working on some of this radiator stuff too once I get the fuel rail put together, but yeah, that's going to be, I don't know, we'll see. Might be a separate video, but I had to do a bunch of custom stuff to get this radiator to work.
Yeah,
But we'll get to it if we get to it. So he just mounted the fuel pump, and we got a line, dash 10 coming out of the fuel cell, and then down to dash 8 on the feed side.
Dash 8 all the way to the fuel rail, right?
Yeah, it's going to be dash 8 from the feed side through the filter and to the rail, and then the return off the rail is going to be dash 6. So
don't worry, our wastegate is not going to be pointed at our fuel line.
yeah. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Might be fun. So yeah, I guess we'll get working on this and we'll update you when we get a little more progress. Oh, son of a bitch. Alright, I'm over here putting together this fuel rail and getting fittings on it. It's coming together. Effing shit up. We got, yeah, you seen the pump mounted. We were working on some ideas here where to mount the fuel filter, and we had long enough AN hose to mount the fuel filter back here on the firewall. So Brian drilled some holes over there, and he's currently working on some AN fittings here for this hose. What are we doing, a 45 off?
45 off the pump.
45 off the pump. Because this, yeah, this is going to kind of be in the way, so we're going to 45 down run it down along, up the frame rail, back to the firewall.
And a nice short little piece from the fuel filter.
What are we doing, a 90 up on that end?
Yeah, 90 from there and 90 onto the fuel rail, right?
Yeah, and then, alright, so this hose is going to come this way, 45 off that, run along the frame rail down low, 90 onto the filter, and we're going to do a short feed, a 90 off of that, and a 90 right to the fuel rail once that gets in here. I'm working on that.
90, yeah,
yeah, we should have another one. Right. So far, I'm pretty happy with this eBay fuel rail kit, aside from one little issue. As you can see, I got some crusty fuel pressure gauge on there because I broke the liquid filled one. I broke the fitting off it and it started leaking. Pretty much with my hand. So, didn't take much to break that. So, that's so far the only complaint. It's probably because I'm really strong. But, yeah. So far the only complaint. Alright, he's working on the hose.
Always.
As per usual. And I'm going to keep grinding on this fuel rail, try to get the injectors fitted up in the manifold and the rail. Get back to you shortly. Alright guys, it's the next day. We did what we could last night. We got most of it wrapped up. Brian's at work right now. I'm out here working on this again, so I'll show you what we got done on the fuel system. You've seen most of this already, but we got this whole feed line ran all the way up through there. Filters mounted, 90-90, short little sweep to the throttle body. I'm sorry, the fuel rail. Got the injectors in, everything's mounted. The return line, off the fuel pressure regulator, and back to the fuel cell. So that's pretty much all done. And I started working on some other things. I had to make a few modifications to the charge pipe for the radiator setup, but this is going to be up to about here. Just a minor modification to that. Reduced it by another 90 we had in the system. So now it's just a straight loop. I think that looks better. I'm going to start working on the radiator, I think. So I have everything I need. You guys have seen this, but I haven't explained it yet. This is our version of a budget drag radiator. It's a triple core radiator that I searched high and low on eBay trying to find something that fit the dimensions of this little area here. And after probably months of searching, I stumbled across this. Now what it is, it's actually a radiator for like an ATV. It's either a Yamaha Grizzly or a Rhino, Yamaha Rhino, I forget which one. They were both very similar, but one had both outlets centered and one had one offset, but they were the same size pretty much. So I went with this one with the offset. Now as you can see, the fill neck is kind of off to the side, because this radiator is designed to sit long ways, so that would actually be the top. But I'm standing it up. We'll worry about this issue if it turns into one, but I think we'll still be able to fill it. One other issue is the outlet size. It's only like a 1-inch. And all the Honda stuff, I believe, is 1.25 inches. So that's what these things are for. I ordered step down silicone couplers. This is 1 inch to 1.25 inches. I ordered 2 of those, and then one which is just a 45 1.25 inches. And then a B series lower rad hose. That was the G plus one I showed you yesterday. I had to order the whole kit, the upper and lower, so I'm not even going to use the upper, obviously, but yeah. So this radiator was $60. You compare that to a drag radiator, that's like 400 plus. That's probably similar in size, maybe a little smaller, but for 60 bucks plus the hoses, I'd probably have another, I don't know, another 50 or 60 into the hoses. So overall price, you're looking at $120 versus $400 to $500 for a drag radiator setup. And I think this is going to work pretty good. Had to knock a few tabs off the side here for the charge pipe. But slide it all the way over. For our setup, it fits damn near perfect. I'm going to use 245s here, one with the reducer, cut them down to size, and to join those two hoses together, I ordered, let's see, from ICT Billet. This was also off eBay, but I've ordered from them before, and they're pretty quality stuff. 1.25" billet barb coupler to join the two hoses together after I cut them. Got two of those. So I'm obviously going to have to use a reducer on the lower hose also. So that's what I came up with for a budget drag radiator. So I'm going to get to working on this, see if I can cut some hoses down and figure out how to get this in there. But that works out well. Get back to you in a few. Alright, so I just attempted to cut these hoses with that PEX cutter I showed you the other day. I did it off camera, but it worked out better than I expected. I don't really know how much cleaner of a cut you can get trying to do it by hand. With a razor blade or something, you always get jagged edges cutting this stuff. And I wanted them to be clean cuts. This thing literally worked perfect. I'm going to, I got this one marked here. Can't really see it, black Sharpie, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one, see if I can't film this while I'm doing it. I can kind of show you. It seemed like the only technique that I saw that would help is, you get it lined up where you want it on your mark, and you slowly squeeze it. It's going to crush it a little, but you just apply light pressure until it actually bites through, and then the hose comes back to shape. Don't just squeeze it all in one shot, because then you'll probably get a crooked cut. But that started to bite through, and then you just continue. Nice and slow. And I don't think you can get a better cut than that. So, a little $9 tool off the shelf at Home Depot. And that's what you're left with. Perfect cut. No frayed edges, nothing. So keep that in mind. I'm going to cut the other end and see if I can't get this positioned. Alright, so this is what I ended up with for the top hose. Sorry about the noise, I got the heater running over there. But after I made my cuts, as you can see, that's how it's going to sit. Just got to use this barb insert to go in between the two pieces and get some clamps on, and that custom top hose, I think it looks pretty damn good. It's going to look good. It worked out really well. We're getting this $60 ATV radiator to work as a drag radiator. Damn, that looks good. Alright, I'm going to see what I can do about the lower hose. Get back to you. Alright, I just finished up making some cuts on the lower radiator hose. I just wanted to show you something. This was the factory edge from the lower radiator hose. You can see how terrible that cut was. This is the cut I made on it with the PEX cutter. That's the garbage they send. That's supposed to go to the lower spout on the radiator. Anyway, I made my cuts on it, and it's not ideal for the lower hose, but it worked. It's a little bit of a kink in it. Should have went with a 90 reducer instead of a 45, I think. Nonetheless, it worked, and we're all routed. No clamps on it yet, because I gotta figure out a way to mount the radiator, even though it's really not gonna move much. I got some padding on the bottom, so it's not just sitting directly on the bar. But yeah, I think we're able to move on to the next step. Fuel system's completely routed, minus wiring, and now the radiator is plumbed, aside from an overflow. But yeah, I think that worked out pretty well. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you got any questions about parts that I used, you're thinking of doing something similar, yeah, leave a comment. I'll get back to you on it. But I think that's pretty good for a budget setup. This thing's really starting to look nice. I'm impressed with the way everything's coming out. So I think that's probably going to wrap it up for this one. Check the fuel system and the radiator off, and we'll move on to making the next video. See what we're going to work on next. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word. Minimum wage is coming out this season.